All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome to tonight's meeting. Trustee Hatcher is requesting to participate in this meeting electronically. Electronic participation is allowed if majority of the board votes to allow it through a roll call vote. Do I hear a motion to allow Trustee Hatcher to participate in this meeting electronically?
So moved.
Second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher?
Yes. This is Trustee Hatcher saying yes.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Landau?
Here, yes.
Trustee McKnight-Morton? Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
It's been moved.
Support.
Support. Any discussion on the agenda tonight? Okay, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Here.
Trustee Hatcher?
This is Trustee Hatcher, yes.
Trustee Landau?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight-Morton? Here.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to approval of the minutes, tab A. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the minutes of May 21st monthly and June 4th special meeting as submitted. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion on the minutes from the last two meetings? Okay, hearing none. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher?
Trustee Hatcher, yes.
Trustee Landau?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight-Morton? Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to citizen participation. Before we begin public comments, I would like to explain the protocol for speaking during public comments. If you would like to speak to the board and have not already, please sign up at the table to my left over there. I will call each speaker up by name to speak at the microphone. You will have 3 minutes to speak. When 2 minutes have passed, Veronica will let you know with a yellow slip of paper that you only have 1 minute left. When you reach the 3-minute time limit, Veronica will indicate with a red slip of paper. To allow everyone to speak, I will stop you after 3 minutes. We ask that you respect the spirit of this forum and allow all speakers the opportunity to speak and conduct official business. Behavior that disrupts the event or prevents speakers from being heard or being able to continue is prohibited. I would like to remind my fellow trustees that here to listen to comments and should not engage or respond to the comments. I'm going to begin calling names from the sign-up. Okay, the first three, if you'd like to come up.
The union. WCC.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to do WCCEA first. Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you, Trustee Fleming. Last month when I spoke to you, I said that I was going to reserve my comments on the Lucian contract until this month. That would give me a chance to talk to my faculty, my members. Would also give me a chance to meet with President Belanca and talk to her. I've met with President Belanca, and what I want to tell you tonight is precisely what I told President Belanca a couple of weeks ago. I'm a historian. I teach history. And sometimes I dabble at being a union president. What I'm not, very clearly, is an expert in IT. I use IT. As you probably know, and deep into distance learning. All of the faculty, whether we do distance learning or not, are users of the college's IT systems, but I don't know anything about IT. And therefore, it's difficult for me to tell you that the status quo is acceptable. It's just as difficult for me to tell you that the Lucian contract before you is acceptable. I don't know what we need in the future. I don't know what might be wrong right now. But this I can tell you. This is not a good move for the morale of the college. I can tell you that other employee groups are looking at what's going on right now and seeing their jobs potentially under the gun. I'm concerned that 5 years down the road, if we do execute this contract, that we will have our hands tied. We won't be able to create a new IT system or section out of whole cloth. We will have to either renew with Aleutian or go with someone else, and whoever that is will know that we don't have very many options. I'm concerned that this contract might lead to not a great deal of responsiveness. And I can tell you that personally, 23 years here, our IT section has always been incredibly responsive to my needs and to the needs of the college. Let me urge, therefore, that if the status quo, and again, I can't judge, I honestly cannot judge whether the status quo is sustainable. But if the status quo is not sustainable, let me urge that there be a middle ground here. A middle ground that keeps 31 loyal, trusted, hardworking WCC employees on the WCC payroll, that brings in Aleutian to fill in the gaps that we have, so we can tap into their expertise. We can tap in to what they bring to us. This hybrid solution likely will be more costly than what's before you tonight. It might be organizationally difficult to implement. Who's the boss? But those problems, I think, are overcome by the peace this would bring the campus overall, by the way it would help salve the concerns of other employee groups who listened to Aleutian's presentation last month and said, hey, they can do my job too. This would be a way to avoid that. I recognize that I'm urging what in football, I guess you would call a play that the quarterback calls from the line of scrimmage. And perhaps we're not prepared to do that tonight, because that, of course, would require talking with Aleutian and potentially negotiating a new contract. I urge that that be what the college does. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to public comments. The first three cards I have are Marie Wood, Francisco Roque, and Sean Thomas. Will you please come to the microphone? Go ahead when you're ready.
Okay, so my name's Marie. I'm just going to start off with an email that I sent to the president and the Board of Trustees. It's not something that I made public. It's something that I wanted to share, though, tonight, just because this is going to be more of a personal speech than what my previous speeches have been. So this is what I said. It has been difficult for me as I continue to push this. The more I learn, the less confident I feel. Not because this decision is in the college's best interest, but because the decision is in the president and CFO's best interest. Because a vehicle and a house on top of a $200K salary isn't enough. I truly believe that this decision stems from personal gain. I also truly believe that once this passes, the president will retire as a mission accomplished. I do not believe any of this is for the college, and it breaks my heart. I hope that I am wrong. If Belanca actually reads this, I hope that she understands that I have no ill will towards her or the board. I simply want the truth, and I don't think the community is getting it. To an extent, I understand the president's past. I read that she was told to marry and forget about college when she was young. I heard that, she was told she wasn't college material. She should just marry her boyfriend and become a secretary. I want her to know that I was told the same thing and it ripped me apart. I was a great student up until that point. I took advanced placement classes and did my absolute best. But after my own father told me that I wasn't college material when my parents divorced, I stopped trying. My grades suffered for a long time. However, I have continued my education. I go to WCC and I'm 17 credits away from graduating. It took a long time due to my past and my severe depression, but I would like to finish what I have started and become the first person in my family to have a degree, proving to myself that I am college material. WCC is not only an affordable option for me, but it has also given me hope. I praised this college for a long time, and I want to fight for its future. I want to continue to be proud of this school and spread the hope it gave to me and others. The world can be cruel, and getting a degree in the U.S. is becoming a struggle without sacrifice to life and debt. I am happy you were able to prove someone wrong and get the education you wanted, as well as pursue your dream, Belanca. Please understand that you'll be ruining the dreams of your IT department if you go through with this. I've come to know many of them in the recent weeks, and they're all hurting whether they admit it or not. Some get to retire if they're lucky. Many, however, haven't looked for a job in nearly 20 years. They think it'll be easy, but as someone who wanted to be in IT for a long time, it's a very competitive field. It isn't what it was 20 years ago. Everyone wants to hire cheap, less experienced individuals who think they can shape into their ideal worker. They look for young, inexperienced, eager people to hire. My time is up, but I just hope that maybe you guys will explain about the trustees not being on the trustee distro. That's something I think that the whole community would like to know, so if someone could share that tonight on record, I personally would really appreciate it. And I have my petition. I'm going to give it to her.
Thank you, Marie. Up next is Francisco, followed by Sean. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, I am Francisco Roca and have worked at WCC for over 20 years. I've also been a WCC student and I'm still a county resident as I have been for over 20 years. For the past month, you've had formal meetings with Aleutian, some public, some private, some fancy. For the president and CFO, this has been going on for longer. We, the WCC IT department, have not been so lucky. For years, we've asked for a CIO to have positions refilled. Then one day, we're told we can't handle it, that we'll be outsourced. We had no meetings, no dinners with you to tell you our side, offer our suggestions. Still, you have an alternate plan, should you vote no. That's done in under a month. And there's more. It took no time for all of this, the community, to rally to our side. It took no time for people to know they wanted our jobs and their money kept in-state. Our community has spoken, and with such speed, we've heard from faculty, PTO, students, and student groups, and our community. News article after news article from various organizations with titles such as "The IT Outsourcing at WCC is a Scam. As a taxpayer, you should fight it. Here's why and how." And "WCC IT Outsourcing Scandal and how you can get involved." These are the words the community uses to describe the proposal. Scandal, scam. Members of the admin group haven't been as publicly vocal in support, but they still stop me while jogging in the park, or biking home, or speak in hushed tones in the college hallways, and wonder why this is happening. "You're doing a fine job," they say. I understand why they haven't spoken up before, and so to them I say, consider unionizing. This proposal shows the need for a united front. Protect your voice, protect your job, protect your dignity. Go union. Now, thank you for addressing some of the concerns via the current proposal. I appreciate that. But you're still faced with the question of whether you are comfortable sending this money out of state, of what community means to you, of what the responsibilities entrusted to you are worth. Your constituents have spoken pretty loud and clear on these. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, up next I have Sean Thomas, followed by Nicholas Hunt, and then Neil Topal. I apologize if I mispronounce. Go ahead, Sean.
Thank you. So I have even less prepared this time. Last time I spoke, and just wanted to clear some things up that I only speak for myself, even though I am an employee here. just wanted to mention the department I do work at to tell my story. And I just wanted to apologize to anyone here that thought I was inappropriate at the last meeting, that you have a personal problem with how I was, but I think it's also more inappropriate to bring that into my job and contact my boss's boss about my behavior as a private citizen. I was just really mad about that. But to the actual IT outsourcing, it's just not right. We can obviously make it work if we have to because we're amazing employees here at WCC, but that shouldn't be a selling point. It's just not a good decision to contract a company that was chosen for us without a bid going out or anything, as opposed to keeping everything in the community. That makes more sense to me. And they're going to say that we're still going to have responsive IT help and we're still going to have everything the same and we're going to focus on student success, but it's just not necessary. And it's beside the point that this isn't a good way to handle the problems that we have, which is really probably a lack of funding from the state. And the powers that be are probably going to say that it's out of our hands and that we just don't have the money that we used to or whatever. But I think we can work with this. If the college wants a change in leadership, then they can offer these severance packages to the leadership and just get new leadership rather than using this outsourcing as some kind of weird way to get a whole brand new thing in. I just think we can be braver than that and actually fix our IT department for whatever problems may or may not exist. And I'm just disappointed in the college for putting this proposal out at all. And I would love to see us actually try and come together as a community and solve our problems and all that. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I have Neot Paul, Nicholas Hunt, and Jay Irwin. Go ahead.
Honorable trustees, department chairs and members, students and staff. I worked here for 20 years and my wife also works here. You heard that last time. Now, the decision stops at the door of the trustees' opinion today with a vote. I hope you have heard, you have read the emails you have received, you have followed the social network, you have seen the change.org, the opinions expressed there, and it's counting and it's increasing in numbers. You have a responsibility. You have to rise up to the occasion, not just cutting the ribbons on occasions, but to think what is best for college. So now, with all respect to everybody here in this house, I'd like to read what my neighbors have wrote to you, and for the benefit of all to hear. They're a retired couple. One is an ex-retired librarian from University of Michigan, and her husband is a renowned psychiatrist. They just live next door to us. They had a handwritten note, and they told us to type it and send it to you under their email address, which you did. In your capacity as trustees at Washtenaw Community College, WCC, you will soon vote on a proposal to outsource your information technology operation. We strongly urge you to reject this ill-advised proposal in order to avoid serious damage to the college. As a number of other educational institutions have learned the hard way, outsourcing important operations usually has serious consequences. In addition to the financial damage and hardship imposed on affected staff members, a layoff results in a loss of revenue to the community at large. Moreover, it produces serious moral problems among remaining staff members throughout the institution. As a common sense dictates, the work product from an outsourced operation will deteriorate and you will have much less control over it. You simply cannot expect poorly paid contract employees to have same commitment to the production of a quality work product as a regular in-house staff members. In case of WCC, many of your IT staff members also graduated from WCC, therefore they have additional institutional loyalty. If you ultimately do decide to outsource your IT operation, as I predict, eventually realize that you have made a serious mistake, the college will have a difficult time rebuilding the department. High quality, experienced IT personnel are in high demand and command relatively high salaries. Replacing these employees will prove to be a time-consuming and expensive proposition. Dr. and Mrs. Robert Bailey, Saline, Michigan. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, up next, Nicholas Hunt, Jay Irwin, and then Robert Barber. Nicholas Hunt, go ahead.
Hello, board. Hello, ELT. Hello, Dr. Blanca. My name is Nicholas Hunt. I've been here in IT at WCC for 12 years. I'm not one to beg, but today I will. Please don't do this to us. Please do not put 31 families in disarray. Please do not end 31 retirement pensions. But please, do invest in us, as we have invested in WCC, as students and as staff. Invest in us and let us show all of the communities what an in-house IT can do with dedicated leadership. An outsourced company will never have an investment in this school and in this community the way that the 31 of us do. They can't, because it's human nature, and they don't have the 390 years of combined experience at this college that we have. We came from WCC. We love WCC. We are WCC. The moral of employees outside of IT has declined drastically in the last month, as I've seen. This move to outsource will only further a disconnection that will have a negative impact on the students and the community to follow. We can turn that around tonight. You could do that. It is now up to you to decide the future of WCC, because a yes vote on this proposal today will likely be a no vote on a millage tomorrow. So again, I beg you, keep me, keep us. As employees, invest in us with great leadership so we can lead the great. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, I have Jay Irwin. Go ahead.
My name is Jay Irwin. I am a Washtenaw County resident and taxpayer. I want to voice my opinion to you. I am against the privatization of this public institution. I am speaking directly to you as individual board members, to President Belanca, and to Bill Johnson. I am only one person. But if you vote yes on this proposal, I will not support any future millages to this school with my money. This is the key point I want to make. This decision is causing fear and chaos in the lives and families of every employee it affects. I hold each one of you personally responsible for the outcome of this decision. And finally, my main point. This is not how people treat other people, especially people who have given so much and dedicated their careers to your institution. Thank you.
Up next, I have Robert Barber, followed by Aaron Williams, followed by William Toms. Robert Barber, go ahead.
My name is Robert Barber. I am the president of Young Democratic Socialists at WCC and also a concerned student. President Blanca and WCC trustees. We have a long and painful history of job loss in this state. Whole cities have been devastated by corporate predation. The ruins of once prosperous factories litter the landscape like decayed cadavers with hollow rib cages. Have we not been sufficiently gutted? Now we stand before you on this issue. You, a group of supposed community educators who are now poised to carve out another piece of flesh. It may seem to you a small thing. The quiet are the least noticed, little evils seldom seen. But we are not meek. The community watches you. We know what you are doing. If you do not stop, there will be consequences. This is our IT department, not yours. If we cannot reason with you today, then we come for your jobs tomorrow. Election time is coming, and DSA is a national organization with many allies. We shut down immigrations and custom enforcement offices. We oppose fascists in the streets, and we do not speak idly. I will not address your lies or deliberate campaign against these working folks. Instead, I wanted to lay out this vision of the future. The public will know what happened here. Outrage will boil over. Those seats will be held by others. Say no to corporate interests. Say no to job loss. We are watching. People over profit.
I have Aaron Williams, followed by William Toms, followed by Robert Wheeler. So up first, Aaron. Is Aaron Williams here?
Good evening. I wasn't going to speak, but something that one of my coworkers said, which was some of the trustees are concerned about that we're just hearing a lot of complaining and not anything really trying to fix or resolve the problem. I would like to propose that if you really want to seriously fix the IT department, that you actually create a vice president and chief technology officer, and also make an associate vice president for information security office. That will at least give you real room to actually hire someone who is competent and also pay them the wages that they will desire. I furthermore want to reiterate some of the other things that a lot of the other workers have said, and a lot of people have spoken about. I vote. I always vote. I encourage people to vote because people in my background don't always do because they think it does not mean anything. Having the ability to vote makes a big difference. Trust me when I say, people will remember this, the upcoming election, and will hold a lot of people accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. I have William Toms, Robert Wheeler. So those are my final two. William Toms followed by Robert Wheeler. Go ahead.
Thank you again for taking public comment. My name is Will Toms. I am formerly the portfolio manager for Quicken Loans IT division, the founder of a venture-backed IT startup, and I'm also a proud alumnus of Washtenaw Community College. And so, look, I had a whole speech planned. I think most of us did. But I just want to suggest to you that every comment you have heard so far is what community accountability looks like. I have not had the pleasure of coming to one of these meetings before tonight, and it is so unfortunate that I feel like I have to drive out here from Detroit, where I work as a community organizer, to try to protect the jobs of 31 working class people. That is 31 people who need to pay a mortgage. That is 31 people who need health care. That is 31 people who need care in their elder years and to pay for their families. I know something of how this works from working for Dan Gilbert. I helped him prioritize IT projects based on budget and effectiveness. We spent a lot of time working with vendors. We spent a lot of time negotiating the price difference. We spent a lot of time considering the impact that these things will have on the company to take jobs out of the community and to give them to someone hundreds of thousands, or maybe even thousands of miles away. Contracting, by and large, does not work. You get subpar work at a cheap price, and you really do get what you pay for. Not to get too personal with it, but this college gave me a chance when nobody else gave me a chance. I applied at MIT so I could get a rejection letter framed. Turns out they don't actually mail you the rejection letter, it's just an email. And I applied at Washtenaw Community College. And because this place was a haven for working class people, they accepted me. I had no credentials. I had like 3 classes in woodshop and 4 in auto tech, and they said yes to me. And I climbed here. So I understand where you're coming from when somebody said that you were not college material. I get that. These people are college material. This community here is fighting to protect itself from privatization, from you folks here. And so this is accountability. These are your people. You owe them this. I'm not thanking you. I want to hear the vote first.
Robert Wheeler.
Good evening. I'd like to thank the Washtenaw Community College Board of Trustees for the opportunity to address you this evening. My name is Robert Wheeler. I'm a Michigan resident and also a serve as Vice President for Dynamic Campus. We're a privately held company that's dedicated to serving colleges and universities. Tonight, you'll be considering the sole source outsourcing of your IT organization to Lucian. Dynamic Campus also provides managed services exclusively to higher education, although our approach differs vastly from the Lucian. We are all too familiar with Lucian's tactics and strategies. From my experience as a former employee of this multi-million-dollar multinational company, the information in the press and local blogs is accurate. What I would hope is that the Washtenaw Board of Trustees, President, Cabinet, faculty, staff, and students, and most importantly, the citizens supporting this institution with their tax dollars go into this $26 million deal with their eyes wide open. Dynamic Campus recently sent a proposal to the board, the president and CFO, outlining how we could double the savings proposed by Lucian, retain all employees, and keep the other support services in the state of Michigan. Dynamic Campus does not outsource help desk nor use any overseas employees, which is completely opposite of the Lucian model. I would hope that the Washtenaw Board of Trustees would move to an open and fair request for proposals process that allows for competitive bidding. This has been the standard practice for every community college that I've been involved with over my 20 years in higher education. This is especially true considering that this is a $26 million expenditure. An open and fair bidding process would allow our company and others like us to bid against the Lucian for your business and provide alternative approaches to your goals. The board could then choose the company that best meets the needs of Washtenaw Community College while assuring the lowest possible price and be presented with alternative service solutions that better fit this institution and the concerns of your staff and community. It would allow you to select a partner that is best aligned with the vision and values of the institution, to choose a company that is committed to every single member of the Washtenaw community. Again, it is our hope that the board chooses to open up this process and allow for fair competitive bidding. Dynamic Campus believes your constituents deserve nothing less. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. All right. Vanessa, were there any written communications?
Yeah, there were 72.
72 received, okay. Okay, moving on to special reports. We're going to discuss the mandatory audit communication. VP Johnson.
Great, thank you very much. I'd like to invite up Tom Winkleman, who's the principal from Raymond, for our audit, and this is their mandatory communication with the board regarding our upcoming fiscal 19 audit.
Trustees, I'm here today to verbally summarize some of the information that you...
Could you speak into the mic?
Sure.
Thank you.
How's that?
Much better, thank you.
Thank you. Trustees, I'm going to verbally summarize some of the written communication you've previously received regarding the upcoming audit of the financial statements. The scope of our audit is to audit the college's financial statements and also audit the federal awards piece. So there's two components to that. The timing of this is similar to other years, and we're going to get started here in July and August, and I'll be back here in September to report back to you. Just want to quickly remind you of your role in this process as the governing body and the charged with governance and overseeing this audit process. My role as an independent auditor is to report back to you. I work for you, and I want to make sure that we have that open communication throughout this process. Our audit, it's a typical audit. We'll focus on a sample of transactions related to financial reporting. And of course, if we see anything related to internal controls or other types of those matters, I'll make sure to report back to you. Also in the packet that you received is our engagement letter, which summarizes the terms of our engagement, which are basically what I just referred to. And I just want to also make sure that you know that my contact information is in there, and I'm always available to address any of your concerns along the way. And this year's audit is going to be a little bit different than other years in that there aren't any big changes, so that's a good thing. There's been a lot of changes that you probably have seen in the last few years, and there are no significant changes upcoming. So in that way, it's there's a consistency here that should be understandable and should be a smooth process that we always expect. Are there any immediate questions? Appreciate your time otherwise.
Any questions from the board? Okay.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead, Ruth.
Yeah, thank you. I have no complaint about this audit or past audits, but I do have a concern about being too comfortable with the audit. And I would encourage us to look for alternate audit companies, CPA, whatever they are, so that we have a diverse picture of the audit. And I've said this before, and I just wanted to mention it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
I'd like to follow that up. I also agree with what I think Trustee Hatcher is getting at, that it may behoove the college to occasionally change the auditing company in order to get a different sets of eyes looking at our books in different ways, rather than just go along with the same auditing company year after year. So is your experience that your company just audits year after year for how many years at a time?
There's definitely, each situation is different. One way that that's handled is that, for example, I'm a new face in my role here for the college audit. I have not been in this position before. So there is a new face and a new set of eyes from the engagement partner perspective. That's one way to handle it. Rotation is more of a personal preference and the desire of the governing body. There's no requirement that occur. That's up to the board to decide.
Would you like to add to that, Mr. Johnson?
Thank you. We did run an RFP process about 1.5 years ago, and we did present our recommendation to the board. The board did express concern about the continuity, and so we limited this particular cycle to a 3-year cycle, and also the board required that we rotate the partner out, which we've done from Michelle Fowler to Tom, and we will be back at another bid process in about another year or so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions or comments from the board? Okay. I guess that's the beginning. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the WCC Park Ridge update. VP Mull.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Anthony Williamson, who you have met before, and his daughter, who has been participating in various activities through Park Ridge. And Anthony will just give you a brief overview of basically what has happened over the last year. And Anthony, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, President Belanca and staff. I want to take time today to update you on the progress we've been making at Park Ridge Community Center. Park Ridge Community Center is in Ypsilanti, located in the middle of most of the Ypsilanti community schools. The closest school to us is Perry School, and we have about 211 students who've registered for Park Ridge this year who attend, most of them attend Ypsilanti community schools. Our programming at Park Ridge includes our after-school program, our summer camp, and our Saturday Academy. I want to highlight summer camp and Saturday Academy. Saturday Academy initially, or first, because it's something we just started. It's a program that we developed after we received a grant or some funding from United Way for after school programming. And one of the things we decided to do was to create a Saturday Academy. As most of you, or I hope most of you know, there is a new Michigan reading initiative that suggests if kids are not proficient in reading by the end of 3rd grade, that they could possibly be held back. And so what we did is start a very small Saturday Academy with our grant funds just to see how we can do a program and what kids attend on Saturday. We recruited 10 families, which included 9 of the 11 children participated every week. We ran a 12-week program that began in late April. And parents, as far as Detroit, reached out to us through Facebook in order to get their kids registered. When I say parents, I mean parents and grandparents, because a lot of it was just referrals or based on personal relationship I have with folks who wanted to, get their kids reading because they understand the seriousness of this issue. Another thing I wanted to highlight is summer camp. And so our summer camp, we are on our, I believe, 12th year. We've been doing summer camp, which is a 7-week program for kids 5 to 12. For the amount of years we've been doing it, we probably average about 90 to 100 kids registered each year, and about 72 to 78 attend daily. So this video is something we created last year about summer camp. Park Ridge Summer Camp. The camp has been running, I believe, since 2007 was our first official year. We have about 92 kids registered this summer. So all during the morning we have reading, mathematics, and history. But we also have a STEM focus this year where we're doing 3 different STEM programs for kids between the ages of 5 and 12.
They do a lot of learning stuff, which is also really important. Like for the 5 and 6-year-olds, some of them don't even go to school yet, so we get the chance to teach them how to write their name and how to keep their brain working through the summer. They think it's summer, so they can just play. But it's really important that they know that you need to learn as well.
I think the building itself, it means a lot to Ypsilanti. It gives you a strong sense of culture and history as soon as you come in. And it's very warm and welcoming, and it helps you just really want to get involved once you see how important it is to the community.
We staff the camp with paid employees from Washtenaw Community College and paid employees in our partnership with the City of Ypsilanti. We also partnered with the foster grandparents. We have grandparents here. We have teens who used to be members of the camp who asked to volunteer, and we've included them. Just any community member who's invested in what we do here, who has the time and interest to work with our children.
They remember him every year. From the very first year on, when he walked through the door, they was like, "Hey, Colleen, good to see you here." They're excited. Even if I show up here at different times of the day, you can see they're always engaged. They're always doing
everything to help these young kids have fun?
They love the computer room. They have this Roblox game they play that they really just, there's about 20 or 30 different games that are all free for the kids to use. They also enjoy going outside and playing sports.
They get to run around and burn off all their energy. They also get to make friends. My son said that he made a couple of friends here, which is awesome. My son has ADHD, so sometimes he has trouble making friends. So the fact that he came in and made some friends and got along was amazing. So it worked out real good.
I come from Westland, and we come, even though I work out here, it's still, I couldn't find anywhere in Westland as best as this place here. They'll be here till you can't go anymore. Just so you know that.
So, in addition to summer camp, we still have our regular staples as part of our community enrichment program. Our senior focus classes, we have Zumba, a sewing class, and other community enrichment classes that we get our adults to participate in. As far as our community, we do a lot of things in Park Ridge. Park Ridge is the hub of the southeast area of Ypsilanti that they call either the South Side or Gateway community. So one of the things that's happened in the last, I'll say 8 years, is we started this Monday community meeting. The Monday community meeting, which is just our way of saying, how can we get our community to help us better serve the population in Park Ridge, started off as probably about 12 to 15 people in 2010 when we started it. At our last Monday meeting, which was June 10th, we had 55 community members there. Folks from the universities, college students, Washtenaw County Sheriff, some of our state and county representatives attend. There's always someone from, I think, Senator Irwin's office who's there every week. And then community residents have now started to participate more, which we get a better sense of what our community is doing, or what our community wants. One of the things I also want to highlight about our community is about 10 years ago, we started our Black History Month as a tribute to folks who worked in and around Ypsilanti. For those who have and those who haven't, I welcome you to attend, but we have pictures throughout the facility that talks about the rich history of the south side of Ypsilanti. The gentleman whose Rutherford Pool is named after, his picture's up there. The person who Perry School is named after, picture is up there. This year, we unveiled 4 new portraits of community folks, which included Mr. and Mrs. John Barfield, who've contributed greatly to the success at Park Ridge. So also today, I brought my daughter, Tori Williamson, who you saw in the video. Tori has been participating in activities at Park Ridge since she was about 6 years old. But one thing that she's enjoyed since she was 12 years old was our girls group. And girls group is girls group is a weekly activity, not to be confused with an organization that's called Girls Group. Ours is a girls group that I started when I was a graduate student with the goal of having a girls group co-facilitated by a male and female. Tori's been involved since she was 12, and one of the things that we do every year is go on an exposure trip. My former director, Lindy King, and our Vice President, Roger Pillay, always said when we go on these exposure trips, you should live like the folks live in the community you go to. So when we go to Chicago, we don't go downtown. We stay further out so they can ride the train and subways and those type of things. So today I wanted to let Tori share some of her experiences. She's actually aging out this year, so she graduated from Lincoln High School through ECA, and will be attending Eastern Michigan next year, but she started as a 12-year-old, so I wanted to share her experience. So, Tori.
Hello. So as he said before, I started girls group at 12 years old, and when I was 12 years old, it was nice to have other females. Well, I've always had sisters, but it's nice to have other females who are older than me become a role model in my life and teach me things that I didn't want to talk to my mom about or I didn't want to talk to my sisters about. And as I progressed in the program, it was nice to change from like being sort of like a mentee to a role model to the younger girls and teaching them things that they taught me when I was younger. And it was nice to like have that support, and I still feel, even though if I aged out, that they can still always rely on me. Like they have my phone number, and we're connected on social media. So if they ever need to talk to me about some things, I still feel that they can rely on me as I can rely on the other girls who helped me throughout my teen years. Yep. Thank you. Oh, okay. So this year we went to Cincinnati. For the past 6 years I was in it, we went to Chicago, and it was nice to not be like a visitor there, to like take the trains and the buses and figure my way around there now. Now when I go to Chicago, I feel a little bit like I can remember, like, hey Dad, is this place? And he'll be like, yeah, you remember it. So it's nice to kind of feel like I'm like another home in a way. And when I went to Cincinnati, it was nice to see the differences between how we live in Ypsilanti through how they live in Cincinnati. And and it was nice to also notice new things that are different about places. And a lot of these girls haven't really been out the state. So it was nice to see their reaction, like, oh my goodness, we're in Kentucky. Oh, we're in Ohio now. And it was kind of interesting to see how they behaved in new places that they've never been to. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Tori has become so comfortable in traveling like that she, against her father's wishes, is taking a trip to Miami with her friends, and they just graduated from high school. So that comfort level in traveling has increased a great deal. So new programming for 2019, 2020. So one of the things we definitely wanted to focus on is our co-food grant. This year, our goal was to measure how kids feel in a safe environment with adults. That was the only measure. As we look for programming this year, we want to focus a great deal on education and academics. We feel like, understanding that community is considered at risk for academic failure. Most of the kids who participate in our programming at Park Ridge probably do not do extremely well in school, and so that's the reason why we wanted to get the coordinated funding and other programming to help support our kids academically. So this year we're looking at partnering more with Ypsilanti Community Schools so we can be on the same page that they are as far as how we educate our kids. We don't want two different learning systems. We want to be able to partner with the school district in order to make sure that we are teaching the same way that they are being taught in school, just to provide some additional support, and also just to provide support from different adults. Oftentimes our kids tell us that they struggle in school because of their relationship with the teachers. And so by getting community members, volunteers, and our Park Ridge staff, which includes a lot of tutors from Washtenaw Community College, we participate and partner with our financial aid department, and we probably have about 10 to 15 college work study students every semester, and they provide the tutorial for us. So we want to really make sure this year that we focus on improving how we do programming and how we support our kids academically. Another new thing that we have, and hopefully some of you guys may have read about it in the newspaper, but we just partnered with Ypsilanti Youth Art Alliance, and we built out a music studio. So starting on July 1st, actually, with our summer camp kids, we'll be providing training and skills with young people on how to develop and engineer and make music. We want this to be a way that we get more of our teens to be involved with our program. So once we get them in with fun stuff, we're also going to do a art studio and do poetry. My goal is to get them in. Once I get them in, then we'll sneak the math classes and the science classes and the other things. And so those are most of the things we're trying to do for next year, is just to improve our partnerships, to increase numbers, especially teenagers, who will participate in programming that's on education. And finally, thank you for having me. Any questions?
Does the board have any questions or comments?
I just want to say thank you so much. I don't know,
Are you on?
is this on?
I hear.
Thank you so much. This is so exciting. Every time you come to speak to the board, updates is always something new, and I'm glad to hear that. Could you speak a little bit about you're doing a fundraiser, I think? Have you done it yet? Are you going to be doing it?
Which we've done a variety of fundraisers.
Well, I'm talking about that you're going to be doing like a golf outing.
A golf outing. Actually, that was last Friday. So, and it's a interesting story, and I'll be quick. Last year, I had an intern, and the intern loved our program so much she called her dad to come over, and he was there at the end of the camp celebration. And he liked the program so much he bought the kids lunch 2 days in a row, and he supported by giving us some scholarship dollars. And he said, I lost my son who was an engineer last year, and he was an avid golfer. And so what they did, he died July 1st of last year. What they did, maybe 2 weeks later, is a golf outing in tribute to him, and they had about 13 golfers. He said, if you can help me make this bigger, I will donate all the funds that I get to Park Ridge through the city of Ypsilanti. And so that event was last Friday. I am not a golfer, but I know people. So we went from 13 people to having 17 foursomes. And so they was extremely happy with the support, and I'm right now just waiting on the results of how much funds we will receive. So.
Very good. That's great. That's great. Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Bill.
What does it cost to enroll in summer camp?
The cost of summer camp is a measly $225 for 7 weeks, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., breakfast and lunch, and 2 field trips.
That's really good. That's really
And that's every day?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. You had,
Go ahead.
You had mentioned about teenagers, and I just wanted to ask, are we looking at preteens to 18 or high school teenagers?
Our programming is our young youth programs, which is 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. is for kids who are 5 to 12 years old.
Okay.
Teenagers always told me you're a teenager when teen is in the word. So it begins 13 through 18.
13 to 18.
And it's 6 to 9 p.m.
6 to 9. And then, it's just, you're doing so much. I'm trying to keep up with all the awesome stuff that you're doing and proposing to lay out going forward. So with the high school students that you see that come through Park Ridge, I would imagine that there are some SAT or ACT tutorial programs or something like that to help them get ready for college entrance. Are you doing anything like that there?
Well, we don't offer anything like that because, again, the challenge for Park Ridge is to get those teenagers to engage in the academic stuff. Because Park Ridge has a gym in it, most teenagers believe that the easiest route for them to be successful is to play basketball. Yeah. So they just use that gym. And that's our goal by developing the music studio and the art studio. We have to get them in and get them out of the gym. These are kids who will be considered at risk, who don't come and ask for assistance with homework, who I'm sure need that support. However, as you know, there's a lot of peer pressure when you're a teen. And so we do have these tutoring programs and some academic support. But I guess, being the same as I was a teen, it wasn't cool. It's not cool to get in. Right. So if the lead person or person who considered, the most popular person, if he doesn't participate or he or she doesn't participate, then the others won't. So those programs we do have with some of our partner organizations, they do have those, the SAT prep and some other things. But to be quite honest, we have 35 teens who regularly attend. I have one gentleman I know who is excelling academically. I know he just came back from China. He's doing robotics and that type of thing. But that's only one of the 35. So most of them are truly young people who are at risk. So we need to find a better way to get them to value education.
Well, I like how, I'm big on art, from grade school all the way up to now. And I understand the impact of art, the exposure of art, and the direction in which it can lead that individual. And I like the approach that you have implemented in having the various arts programs for the kids. and using it as a pathway to introduce the math, as you said, that's going to come next. Because once they're there, you know, you got them and they're interested, because really art has math in it, you know, depending on how you address it, but it's there. So I applaud your efforts. You're doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the board? VP Mueller, did you want to add anything here?
I just think that I'd like to add thank you to Anthony. He's done a tremendous job under the direction of Shelley Zervos also, and I think that the coordinated funding grant opportunity was a great opportunity for us to be able to reach out to the community and do the things that Anthony does so well with trying to assist with education and training for folks, especially in support of academic endeavors as they continue on from the time that they're young until the time that they graduate and go on to college. So I just say a big thank you to you, Anthony, for all that you do. We really very much appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you much.
Thank you very much.
Can I add?
Yeah, go ahead, Ruth.
I just wanted to add my kudos to Anthony and the Park Ridge Center. They do a marvelous job. It's one of our best investments, and I encourage every board member to support a student at camp.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you. All right, up next is the WTMC update. VP Blakey, did you want to start off with anything?
Sure. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Carl Covert, who's the Superintendent Dean of Washtenaw Technical Middle College, with his annual update for the board.
Thank you for inviting me tonight. It's always a pleasure to talk to the board because it gives me an opportunity to reflect back on our year and to share with you the incredible things that my staff and students accomplish every year. So I'm going to share out with you some basic information about the school. I think one of the things that's really important to me is some people, because of our results, there's a myth out there that we are just taking the best and the brightest. No, we're just taking great kids. And we're excited to welcome all the students who come to WTMC. A couple of things that I want you to look at on these statistics, which were really important to me, because I'm going to talk about one of them later, is where our kids come in around math. We know that if Algebra 1 is where you should be at as a 9th grader, we are taking in kids after their 9th and 10th grade year, and only 50% of the kids we're taking in are ready to do Algebra 1. Another 10% aren't even ready to do pre-algebra. Another thing that's really changed demographically for us is the amount of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. 10 years ago, about 8% of our student body qualified for free and reduced lunch. This past year, 34% have qualified for free and reduced lunch. And when you look at that as an educator, that is the best predictor of how students are going to do academically. Also, the other unique thing about WTMC is we don't control where our students come from. So if you look at those bottom numbers, our students are coming from very diverse learning experiences. So we have to get everyone to the same place and to the same part so that they can be successful in WCC classes. When you look at where the majority of the kids are coming from, still the majority come from what is traditionally Ypsilanti, the Willow Run, and Lincoln school districts. About 55% of our students come from there. I would say this year 27% of our students are coming from Ann Arbor. Another 12% come from the rest of the county, and about 5% come from out of county. Just to give you kind of a financial perspective on the money, we fund free tuition, free books, free lab fees, free disposable products based on our general FTE that we get per student. Last year that amount was $7,871. You can see that about 35% of that goes to the college. This amount is up from the previous year, not the percentage, but how much we're paying the college by about 10%. That comes from increase in the number of classes our students are taking, increase in the number of students, our increased FTE, and the 3% that the college receives from our general education fund. So you can see that amount on the bottom. Here's some statistic, and I think it's great to kind of look at what our students are accomplishing at WCC. We make up 2.9% of the student enrollment last year, which is about 64% of all the dual enrolled students. What's really interesting, when I took over this position, we had 329 students at WTMC. This year, we're going to be close to 810. At that time, we were 80% of the dual enrolled students. When we were 329, we've now more than doubled that, and we were only 60%. But those 2.9% make up 5.1% of the total credit enrollment, course enrollments at the college. And those students are going to be completing over 20,000 college credits this year. And I want you to kind of think of the economic impact on Washtenaw County. These are 20,000 credits that students aren't building debt, aren't taking with them, and they're graduating with, a lot of them, with either something they can go directly to the world of work, or they can transfer to a college and use those resources there. Just some other statistics to look at. I think one of the things is that WTMC students complete a lot of the certificates and associate degrees awarded. That 2.9% complete 10% of all the associate degrees last year. And it's really in very specific fields. So if you look at general math and science associate degree, WTMC students were 45% of that area, 20% of occupational studies, and 17% of the healthcare foundation certificate. Also, you can look at awards by degrees. The one I'm really proud of is that last one, 37% of math and science, engineering, and technology. 5 years ago, we had a very specific goal at WTMC. We noticed, we get every year, our transcripts are analyzed by Columbia Teacher College. We send our transcript and they give us data on it. And we look at what our kids are taking. 5 years ago, our students were only 4% of their courses were actually in math. And when you look at why students are unable to complete bachelor's degree, unable to go into STEM fields, healthcare, the number one reason is inability to access those programs because of math. So we as a staff said, this is unacceptable for our students. We need to look at this. We changed curriculum. We changed how we taught math. And now math is actually the number one course that our students take at WCC. Last year, 17% of our enrollment in courses, so up from 4% to 17% were in math courses. And when you look at total credits, 1/5 of the credits WTMC students take now is in math. All of our students as a graduation requirement have to complete the math that's needed for the MTA, the Michigan Transfer Agreement. The majority of our students complete 2.4 math classes. Over 50% of our students get through Math 80, and many of them go through Calc 1, Calc 2, and Calc 3. So it's an important thing that we've looked at and we've addressed, and it's the work that my staff has done to accomplish this. I think just some other statistics that I think are important to look at is our success rate in courses. Our students have a 97% success rate in their courses, meaning they're getting a C or above. If you compare that to the general population, that success rate is 76%. I'm also really proud that the students who start WTMC finish WTMC. That no matter where you're at, no matter what you bring with you, we're going to work with you and we're going to make sure that you're successful. And to graduate from our program, you have to finish a certificate or an associate degree at the college. 87% of our graduates graduate with an associate degree. That's from this year's graduating class. And the average college credit completed by a WTMC graduate, and this is over 5 years, is 66.7 credits. And our students go straight into the world of work, they go to college, and they get admitted to some really great schools. I think that this has led us to being acknowledged both nationally and at the state level, and I don't think any of this would be possible without this really wonderful collaborative relationship. One of the things that I tell a lot of people is we're a product of my staff, but we're also a product of WCC and the staff at WCC. Over 60% of the classes that our students take are taught by WCC faculty. So this is a unique, really synergistic, collaborative relationship. So I think the partnership is what allows us to do these amazing things for students in Washtenaw County. So thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any comments from the board?
Yeah, I would like to say that there was just as a true testament to the success of WTMC. I was here over the weekend. There was an event, and during the break, got a chance to, speak to some of the people in attendance, and there was a father there that really showed his excitement and determination to have his daughter enrolled in WTMC. And he says, I'm going to do all that I can to get her there because she needs to get into that program so she can also graduate with WCC associate's degree. She, if I'm not mistaken, I thought I heard him say that she would be the first in the family to have gone to college. And if I'm repeating that correctly, then yeah, I can understand his excitement and determination, all because of what the success that you guys have been producing there. So I thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Dr. Blanca.
Dr. Covert, I'd like to thank you for your leadership and all the dedication that you have to make sure those students and their families are successful. And thank you for working so collaboratively with us. Linda Blakey, thank you so much for leading this initiative here at the college. And I'd like to thank Dr. Hearns as well as the faculty that are your faculty and our faculty that teach these students. So thank you. It's an honor working with you.
Thanks.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to add, if I could, it's Ruth Hatcher, that we have a lot to learn at WCC from WTMC, and I hope the relationship continues. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to our monthly reports. We're moving on to tab B, the monthly personnel recommendations. Tab B, the recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the personnel recommendations as listed. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the personnel recommendations from the board?
This is Ruth Hatcher, and I have no comments since all of the full-time new people are replacements. Thank you.
Did you want to add anything, VP Veltri?
No, I would just echo Trustee Hatcher's comments that the report reflects that this is traditionally a light month for us in terms of our recruiting cycle, and that all of the 3 full-time hires are replacements.
Okay.
I would just like to express my sadness that Dean Clarence Jennings is leaving us. I understand the reason why, but we're still going to miss him.
Yes, we are.
I really advocated for him before I even met him. I had heard about him, and I advocated for him way before I met him. So this is a real good for him, but we have to do what we have to do for ourselves.
All right, thank you. Any other comments about the personnel recommendations? All right, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher?
Yes.
Oh, you need to say your name and then say yes, Ruth.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ruth Hatcher, yes.
Thank you.
Trustee Landau?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton? Yes.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Moving on to tab C, the independent staff salary range table. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the 2019-20 independent staff salary range as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Support.
Support? Okay, any discussion on the salary table? VP Veltri, did you want to add any comment here?
Well, what I would add is the request before the board found actually in tab C through E is to approve a 1.5% adjustment to our independent salary range as well as the wage rates, and for our part-time employee classifications on campus. In terms of background, that 1.5% adjustment is consistent with our recent history in terms of contract negotiations with all three of our bargaining units that represent full-time employees. The one caveat I'd like to draw to the board's attention is in tab F, what is not contemplated here is an adjustment to our adjunct faculty wage rates, as we are still in negotiations with that group. So I just want to make clear that the proposal or the recommendation does not include our adjunct faculty.
Okay. All right. All right, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher?
Trustee Hatcher, yes.
Trustee Landau?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton? Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to tab D, the independent staff salary adjustments. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve a 1.5 adjustment to the independent staff salary range rates. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Support.
Any discussion on tab D? Did you want to add anything else here, VP?
No additional comments.
All right. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher?
Trustee Hatcher, yes.
Trustee Landau?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton? Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to tab E, the part-time staff and coaches' wage rates. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve a 2019-20 part-time support staff and club sports coaches' salary as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Support? Okay. Any discussion on this wage rate? Anything to add, VP Veltri? Okay. All right. Hearing no discussion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher?
Trustee Hatcher, yes.
Trustee Landau?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton? Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to tab F. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the 2019-20 part-time faculty wage rates as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Support.
Okay. Any discussion on this? Anything to add, VP Veltri? Okay. Hearing none, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair
Yes.
Chair Fleming? Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher?
Trustee Hatcher, yes.
Trustee Landau?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton? Yes.
Moving on to tab G. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the 2019-20 faculty department chair appointments as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Support.
Any discussion on this?
I'd like to ask whether or not any of the department chairs were appointed by the administration and not by the vote of the faculty of the department.
No.
Okay,
No,
thank
they
you.
were not.
Yeah, the answer is no. Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher?
Trustee Hatcher, yes.
Trustee Landau?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton? Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to tab H, the financial report. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees receive the financial reports for May 2019 as follows. general fund, deferred maintenance, capital fund, and combined schedule of investments, all funds. Do I hear a motion?
Support.
It's been first and seconded. Any discussion on this? VP Johnson, would you like to add anything here?
Just a couple of highlights for the board. Once again, that the revenue for the college through May is consistent with the forecast that we have presented at the March retreat. So about 1.5 million, better than planned. Tuition is right on budget. Property taxes is above. State appropriations is above for the reasons that we've spoke of before. And that our expenditures for the college are right on track with budget as well. So overall, we still anticipate being able to achieve a very modest surplus for the year. I'd also like to draw the board's attention to the fourth page in the package, which is the deferred maintenance. This has been a very active year for us. As the board knows, through prior fiscal years, you've strongly supported the deferred maintenance fund, and we had a number of projects that are at completion or have been completed during the year. Also draw the board's attention to the bottom of that page, where we've identified about 2.5 million worth of projects that are on slate for fiscal 20. The board had approved in the fiscal 20 budget an allocation of 2.5 million. So every bit of that deferred maintenance allocation is spoken for, and we're carefully planning those projects as we speak.
Any questions for VP Johnson from the board? Okay. Hearing none. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher?
Trustee Hatcher, yes.
Trustee Landau?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Warren?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to tab I, the facilities report. Do you want to add anything here?
A couple of line items I'd like to draw to the board's attention. Line items 7 and 8 regarding the Morris Lawrence building. One is we've kicked off, the board had approved the project for the boiler replacement. That's on a critical path item for us now to make sure it's ready for the heating season. The demolition work has begun for the boiler replacement. Also, in the firing range, that the air handling unit, the demolition work is well on its way. The cleanup work, per the board's direction on contracts, that's on its way. And we will be starting the replacement of the air handling units upon completion of that. Also, line item 22 in the Lawrence, the LA Chem Hoods project. That project has been scheduled now and working with faculty. We've been able to minimize the impact at the start of the fall semester, and virtually 100% of that work is now going to be done at the back end of the fall semester and through the holiday season, and be ready for the start of the winter 20 semester.
Go ahead.
I got a question. Couple of them. First of all, I was informed that the fitness center women's pool filter has been out since last Thursday. I guess there's 2 pools, and the filters, one filter was replaced and that broke, and then another filter for another pool broke. So are you aware of that? Is facilities aware of that?
We are, so they're in the women's hot tub.
Hot tub.
Yeah, the women's hot tub. Actually, that's a major project for us. We did a significant amount of the demolition work to replace the hot tub during the shutdown period we had in June. That was a very active week. We replaced the hot water system. We improved the boiler system, a number of other projects, and we also started the demolition work on the hot tub. That's a very significant project. It's going to take at least another 2 months to completely finish that demolition work, and then to rebuild out the women's hot tub. And that has been out, that hot tub has been out for quite a while. And so that's, we have received very strong comments from our members regarding that. You know, that really has brought to attention for us the condition of the hot tubs in general. We actually have 3 hot tubs, a men's, a co-ed, and a women. So based upon what we've learned now from the women's hot tub, we're now then doing an assessment of the other 2 hot tubs as well.
Thank you. Then I can let this person know what's going on with this. Then my other question, page 3, item number 17, WTMC hoop house upgrades. I didn't know what that meant, upgrades to the outside greenhouse. What kind of upgrade is that?
So we're actually doing a number of upgrades to the hoop house so that it can be used as a classroom for the campus and for WTMC. So actually a number of these upgrades are in partnership with WTMC, and WTMC is actually going to fund a significant portion of the upgrade cost. So we're currently working very hard to get that work done in preparation for fall semester.
I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
SEMCOG non-motorized pathway, what degree of disruption will that create when it's underway?
Actually, most of the pathway is along the perimeter of the campus. A portion will go through kind of the northeast corner of the campus. And that's in collaboration with the county and with SEMCOG. That had gone through an original bid process, and those bids were very high. With the help of Trustee McKnight Morton and SEMCOG, they reanalyzed the approach for the engineering of the pathway, and they're going to take a different approach. They're going to rebid the project as we indicated here, because the costs were going to be very, very high. And so it's fully anticipated that they will rebid that out, and they'll start that work later this year with very little disruption to the campus and at the original cost to the college that the board had approved.
Right. I had a meeting with the transportation, the SEMCOG last week, and that was the first thing that I was told, because I looked at them because it came up, and I was told that it's already appropriated and it's good to go now, just waiting for the other bid in August from the, I guess it's the cement people or whoever it is. One of those folks.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All right, thank you. Moving on to remarks. Do any board members want to make some remarks?
I'd like to, this is Ruth Hatcher, thank the board for allowing me to participate on speaker and taking the time to vote on everything because I'm not there. Thank you very much for including me. And I'd also like to thank Diane for asking about the hot tub. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Any other remarks from the board?
I'd like to say
go ahead.
something. I want to say thank you to the IT department for all the letters, and I got a lot of them. Majority of them I did read, some, but they were coming in so fast, and forgive me if I didn't get a chance to read yours. But I do want to say, this is a difficult time. It's a difficult time for us, and certainly it's a difficult time for each of you, individually and collectively, because you all are in it together. What you're going through is not new to me. I also have experience where I was in your shoes. My situation was quite different than what you're going through. But all I can tell you is you have not been ignored. We take your opinions, we take your feelings, we take your family situation very seriously. And we do see the signs that are presented before us. It doesn't matter what I say or any of us say to ease the transition, whichever way this goes. But do understand that we understand, because it is a life-changing event. If it happens to swing one way, then you have to move accordingly. You have to make sure that you have yourself well positioned to move forward in your career, in your life, so that you don't lose step, you don't lose footing. If it happens to swing in another direction, make sure again that whatever you feel personally that you need to improve upon, whatever that may be, then take advantage of that. Because from this day forward, whatever decision that you decide to make, irrespective of what goes on up here, it reflects what happens tomorrow. And that tomorrow could be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And missing out on opportunities that help you advance further than where you feel that you are or are not, then you're on the losing end, whichever way the decision is made. So I definitely wanted to let you know that even though I didn't say anything in the first meeting when you guys were here, because I wanted to take the opportunity and listen to everyone. I wanted to take the opportunity to read your feelings that you have presented to me, because I got them in my email, and hear you out personally. All I can tell you again is you guys and ladies are awesome people. You're fabulous. Wherever you go, if you stay here, if you leave, it's your choice. But we care about you. I certainly do. Because if I didn't, I certainly wouldn't say anything about how I understand. And then I'm very genuine in my remarks to you. You could take it or you could leave it. It's okay. But I do understand because I was in your shoes. I didn't have the awesome package, but it's not about package. It's about friendship. It's about your place. And certainly we don't want to disrupt any of that, but you have to look at yourself too going forward. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do any other board members have comments?
I'll reserve.
You'll reserve yours? Okay, moving on to the president's comments. Dr. Blanco?
Yes, this past week, we had 91 students at our Adult Transitions GED Pathways program, where they received their well-deserved GED diploma. I'd like to thank Trustee Hatcher for speaking at the ceremony and for your inspirational words. You probably noticed that we're honored to have the Operative Plasters and Cement Masons International Association on campus this week for its annual instructor training program. The OPC-MIA is the nation's oldest building and construction union with members across the United States and Canada, and the members hold expertise in two vital construction resources, plaster and concrete. We wish them a very successful program, and it's so good to see them. Our dental students have donated time and services to those in need. Several of our students in our dental assisting program volunteered their time and skills to attend the Mission of Mercy healthcare event last month in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And since 1994, this event has provided health and dental care procedures at no cost to uninsured children and adults. And I'd like to commend our dental assisting program director, Tina Sprague, and her students for providing these vital dental services. And thank you, Dean Graves, for your leadership. A few more. STEM scholars attend the Black Men of America's National Conference. Early this month, 3 of this year's STEM scholars had the opportunity to attend the 33rd annual conference of 100 Black Men of America organization in Las Vegas. The organization is a group of African American businessmen with a mission to improve the quality of life for Americans, African Americans, particularly the African American youth. I'd like to thank, and I'm with you, Trustee McKnight Morton, and all of us. I'd like to thank Dean Clarence Jennings, our former Dean of Student Access, Success, and Equity and Inclusion, for accompanying this great group of students. And our college was recognized, here it is. I'll pass this around so you can see it. We received a silver level award for our Exercise in Medicine on Campus program. And I'd like to congratulate Dr. Marvin Boulay, who developed the program, as well as WCC alumna Lori Beardsley-Henn, who led the effort to register the college for the award. And last but not least, I'm pleased to congratulate Trustee McKnight Morton for being chosen to receive a Women of Achievement Award from the alumni chapter of the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. The award celebrates excellence among Black women and recognizes the contributions they have made to their professions and to the community. Congratulations. And I want you to know she gave an outstanding speech.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to
Can
old.
I add one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Ruth.
It's Ruth Hatcher. I just got the score. The Michigan baseball team score is 0-0.
Thank you.
I'll keep you updated.
Thank you, Howard Cosell.
Okay, moving on to old business, tab J, the faculty sabbaticals. Tab J, the recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the requested 2019-20 faculty sabbatical leaves as submitted. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Support, okay. Any discussion on the faculty sabbaticals? VP Hearn, did you want to add anything here?
No, we have 4 sabbaticals. We do have 6 slots. And this year, all 4 of the sabbaticals will be taken in the winter semester, not in the fall semester.
Okay.
I would just like to say, once again, I say this all the time, but I just can't wait to hear these, their sabbaticals. Each one is so unique and so interesting. I just can't wait to hear their presentation on this.
Some rich experiences. Some very rich experiences.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments here? All right. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher?
Trustee Hatcher, yes.
Trustee Landau?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to tab K. Tab K, the recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the continuation of examine learning validation and remote proctoring at an annual cost not to exceed $75,000. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Support.
Support, okay. Any discussion on tab K? VP Hearn, do you want to add anything here?
Nothing really to add here.
Okay. Any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher?
Trustee Hatcher, yes.
Trustee Landau?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton?
Yes.
Thank you. Tab L. The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve a construction contract with Ecker Mechanical in the amount of $1,098,375. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion on this? VP Johnson, do you want to add anything here?
Just a note for the board that we did make a change in the recommended vendor for this project. When we did a more close examination of the complexity of this project, we really felt it was important that we go with a vendor that had the most qualified team. So we looked at the original vendor and we looked at the second vendor. And the second vendor, in our opinion, had the most qualified team. And one of those ways that we knew that is that they have a registered apprenticeship program. And we think that's very important, especially given the complexity of this project. So we've made a change in the recommendation from the initial read to this read for that reason.
Any questions at all? Okay, hearing none. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming,
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken,
Yes.
Treasurer Davis,
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty,
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher,
Trustee Hatcher, yes.
Trustee Landau,
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Tab M, the recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve a 5-year technology managed services contract commencing July 29, 2019 with Elution Company LP in the fixed amount of $5.2 million per year for each of the 5 years. It is also recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the utilization of general fund reserves to fund the cost of the proposed transition assistance plan for the impacted WCC IT staff. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Support?
Support.
Okay, any discussion on tab M? Who wants to say something?
I just want to say, I've said before, the last time we heard this information, it was kind of unsettling for me, but interesting, it shouldn't have, because we've been talking about this for a long time. I read some of the letters, couldn't get them all, but, and I understand, like I said before, because I've been in this position before myself, and several times. So I have a lot of empathy and sympathy, because I was a single parent and I had 2 young children to raise. One was a baby and the other one was 5, so 2 young babies. So I understand. However, in my thoughts, it's been very difficult to try to come up with a rationale of which way I should vote. And I really can't say what the rationale is, other than as a lot of people mention, being a taxpayer. I was born and raised in Ann Arbor. My parents have been here since the 30s. So, I understand. I paid my share of taxes just like everybody else, and especially if you live in Ann Arbor. But my thoughts right now is that I want everyone to understand, this is, for me, it has been a very difficult decision. And it still is a decision, because I still haven't made up my mind yet. I still have a lot of thoughts going through my mind. But what I want to know is, for me, is that whatever way this vote goes tonight, is that you're going to have to look at which way you want to go for your life. If you haven't started doing it yet, maybe it's about time to start looking at it. Do I want to stay with the contract of this company, would still be here at the college, or do I want to just take it and go somewhere else and apply other places where I understand that now's the time to look at other employment somewhere else? I don't know. I'm not in IT. I have nothing. I can hardly just, if I didn't have my person to help me with my computer, I have a difficult time. But I'm just looking at how is it that you can move on? How is it that you can rectify within yourself that where you need to go and what you need to do for yourself and for your family? Because when the bottom line comes, it's you. It's not your neighbor, it's not your coworker, it's not your parents, not your brother and sister, it's you. You have to make that decision of where you want to go and what you want to do with your life. And because at this point in time, whatever the decision was, in the first place to start this, it wasn't the board, it was the administration. And administration is the ones that's here. The board is here because we are people who were elected to oversee the finances. We're a fiduciary board. But we also look at how is it that we can do better to make this the best college that there is. And so far, with this president, and she is my third president, that she has brought this college further than it ever had been. Ever. And we still are moving along. We have to look at the future, and the future is tomorrow. You got a family, you got yourself, but you got to look at your individual self in your family. How are you going to make it? What are you going to do for yourself? Where are you going to look for jobs? How are you going to network? There's a lot of places out here. And at this point in time, my time when I was let go both times, it was let go. There was no package. There was nothing to consider. You had to go. You had to go. What I'm saying to you is, like it or not, this is reality. This is reality. I am not.
Quiet.
Okay. I'm speaking for myself. I sat here and heard you twice. Okay. So let me speak my speak. I didn't interrupt. I listened. I just want to say how I feel about it. You said what you had to say. I had to say what I have to say. That's all I ask. Everybody's got their own opinion. But we're going to do what we have to do here, whatever it is. I don't know what anybody's going to do, but we have to do what we have to do.
Are there any other comments from the board?
Right here.
Go ahead, Dave.
I want to thank all the people that have spoke tonight, all the people that reached out over the course of the last more than a month. I've considered and weighed, I'm going to read this because I feel deeply about it and I don't want to get off track. I've considered and weighed this decision daily for more than a month since our May meeting. I've sought out the guidance and counseling of other community leaders and shared my thoughts with them. I told several people just 3 hours ago that I was not at that moment 100% sure of the right choice. I feel this process that has brought us to this point has been, on the part of the board, too short for a decision of this import. I take personal responsibility as a member of the board that we have failed in our leadership by allowing our IT department to wallow without strong visionary leadership. I feel our lack at the board level to intervene to require the college to find the IT leadership to keep this department in-house as part of a public sector educational institution supported so generously by our county taxpayers. Philosophically, I am opposed to privatization of publicly funded entities. I feel we, the trustees, have allowed the situation to drift to a point where some trustees may feel contracting with a private IT company is our best solution at this point, and I respect those feelings. I beg to differ and intend to vote no in the hope that and there's a cross out here, in the hope that my fellow trustees will see the wisdom of following a different course. We can and we should find and hire a strong leader to guide and shepherd this IT department as an integral part of our college. We can and we should consult with other large post-secondary educational institutions who do house this function within their college or their university, and we should be guided by their experience. We should not be pushed into this decision by having our backs pushed against the wall in what I feel has been, at least for me at the trustee level, a hurried process. Once the privatization path is embarked upon, there will be no easy going back. and this proposal contracts us through a sole source non-competitive contract that costs our taxpayers $26 million and locks us in for 5 years. One of our speakers tonight wisely proposed that we hire a VP, Chief of Information Technology, as well as invest additional resources and hire an Associate Director of Information and Internet Security. This is a good idea and the route we should embark upon. Fellow trustees, please vote no on this privatization proposal so that we can embark on an alternative like that one to find strong leadership, keep it in-house while contracting for additional add-on services to address the special needs and projects that we need to address with additional expertise. Thank you very much.
Are there other board comments? Are there other board comments? I would like to read a statement explaining my vote. I have read every letter. I am aware of the issues raised and concurrent concerns. It was very important to me that we preserve that information for the future. That is why I asked you to send your messages to the board as a whole in order to preserve that on the public record. And I thank you for those letters. I would like to briefly explain my decision. I have many years of experience in IT and understand the needs institutions have to be successful. That background has helped inform my decision, which is not one I came to lightly either. I see at WCC we are at a fork in the road for IT. We cannot sustain the status quo. We need to go up to the newest version of Banner. We need to turn down legacy systems. We need the new website up and running. We need to turn up the advanced features of Banner. We need to be prepared for many other projects on the horizon. We are asking a great deal of our IT staff because the future is going to be ever more demanding. What I am voting on is a chance for our people to gain new skills and access a premium toolbox to do the job we are asking you. I am voting on an IT management solution from top to bottom that will organize our teams, update the toolbox, and help us move forward. Like many of you, I have misgivings about aspects of the tools we propose, but ultimately we need them to run our business. I implore you all to stay. Jump in with both feet. Learn all that you can learn. Take advantage of every opportunity given. This proposal gives you all a chance as a team and as individuals to succeed. It's a 5-year contract. I firmly believe that this is the toolbox we need right now to get us where we need to go. In 5 years, it may no longer be the right toolbox for the job. The future board has a public record of why we made this decision, and there is a record of your concerns. I will continue to be your advocate to make this initiative successful. It is my promise to everyone involved that we are all in this together and make it work for individuals and the college. Thank you. Are there any other board comments at this time? All right, Vanessa, please call the roll.
I guess I'd like...
Wait, go ahead, Ruth.
Yeah, I'd like to say a few things. It's difficult at a distance, but I'll try. I think I agree in some ways that this has been too fast. I don't know of any other alternatives to hiring this company, and I'm very concerned about spending $26 million on something that I have no choice in. I'm concerned about the millage. I'm concerned about the public's response to outsourcing this to a company that's not Michigan. I did not receive any supportive emails from from the community. All the emails I got, both personal, which I forwarded to Larry, and institutional, were opposed. I don't think there's any, we were presented at every turn with dire predictions of lack of security and lack of infrastructure. I don't think there is any guarantee of security. Target has no security. The Defense Department has lost security, and it's going to happen regardless of this company's expertise. They admitted in my meeting with them to the extra cost of materials. After 5 years, if we're not happy with this group, we don't have too many alternatives because we won't have an IT staff. I'm very concerned about their diversity issues. Their answers to my questions about that were not satisfactory. And I'm concerned about who has control over information with this company, and I think we're losing some control. I think this quick decision is no way to spend $26 million, and I will not support this action. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Any other comments or questions? All right, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Vice Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
No.
Trustee Hatcher?
Trustee Hatcher, no.
Trustee Landau?
Yes.
Trustee McKnight Morton?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Moving on to new business, tab N. The recommendation for new programs 2019-20. VP Hearns, do you want to add anything here?
Yes, I just like to add that the first 3 programs that are presented are all programs that nest in one another. It's an associate's degree with an advanced certificate and a basic certificate. Okay, I'm sorry. There's an advanced certificate and a basic certificate, and this is a associate's degree and certificates that complement another option for students. It complements the business degree that we already offer, but gives students a different path. The 9 3+1 programs that are presented because of financial aid rules. When students choose 3+1 programs coming in, we want to make sure those are represented to the students as program options. And you'll notice that there's a good diversity of transfer options for those students at Eastern Michigan University as well as a couple other schools. Any questions for tab N from the board? Okay.
And this will start in the fall?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to tab O. Recommendation for the discontinuation of programs. Do you have a comment here?
So we just have 3 programs here that we're discontinuing. Our child care and education program and our farm tech, I'll note both of those. There's just been industry changes that those certificates are no longer viable programs for us at the college. And then the mobile device programming, we've actually added those skills into another certificate in a more streamlined way. All right, any questions on tab O? Okay, moving on to tab P, the design contract for the ML renovation. VP Johnson, do you want to add anything here?
Yes, please. The board might recall, gosh, it's about a year and a half ago now, that VP Damon Flowers had presented to the board a number of significant projects that we had on our roadmap. We're bringing to the board tonight the first phase of the project to renovate the ML building. We're not prepared to bring that project in its full design and cost estimate to the board, but rather for the board to propose the design contract. We would work really hard this summer to vet all of the elements of that project, which mainly is a renovation of the infrastructure of the building, as well as some of the attributes from an architectural point of view, including the skylight. And so we have a lot of work to do this summer. And then we will be back to the board with results of that design work, including a cost estimate later in the fall. We had received 13 proposals for this. The recommendation is that we go with Hobbs and Black. Hobbs and Black brought forth the most thorough vetted plan to attack. This is a very difficult project. There's a lot of different pieces of the project, and most of the work is going to be done in a very narrow window of January through June of 2021. And so we wanted to have a firm that had a robust project plan. Hobbs & Black also brings unique expertise because they did a lot of the original work on this building. So they know all the building systems, and their bid was cost competitive.
Go ahead.
Just a question. How soon do you need for us to vote on this?
At the very latest, at the July meeting, but time is of the essence.
And this is just for the design, right?
This is just for the design.
Have we, or could we ask for, I'm just looking, I'd like to start looking at ways that we could take a leadership position as a community college funded by the county's taxpayers to address the issue of global climate change. And I'm wondering if we could look at or ask the design team to look at possibilities of integrating solar energy into the design so we can get some of our energy usage of the building, and maybe if there's excess that we could feed it back into DTE's power lines or into other facilities. But I'm wondering if we could incorporate that into the design process, or do you need a resolution of the entire board in order to do that?
With the,
already in there.
we certainly work hard to have at least LEED silver for all of our projects. However, if the board gives us direction to incorporate and to further explore solar recovery as an element of this design, we would be glad to incorporate that into the design contract.
And I'd like to maybe talk privately with the president about this, but for me, it's important that we take a leadership role on this issue, global climate change. And I'm just saying solar panels, maybe solar energy involvement, but I would look to the administration staff or anybody in facilities to propose other ideas that could take additional steps in that direction to show a leadership position. But I could engage in private conversations with the president about
I would
this.
like that.
Okay, and Trustee Milliken?
I agree philosophically with Trustee DeVarty. I question whether we want to narrow it to define solar, whether there's some broad language that could look at sustainability and those sorts of things. David?
Would you mind
So-
if he joined us?
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What's that?
If the two of them.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, we've done things in the past, as you know, sustainability on the roofs and, vegetation and
LEED
stuff.
certification type steps, but
Right, but that's what we have over at the fitness center, So we've been in that avenue. I just want to make sure that it's in,
so I like it. Let's just not
Hobbs
put
and
too many
Black.
constraints on it.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else for us here?
No.
Okay. All right, moving on to tab Q, the firing range. Would you like to tell us about that?
Thank you. So the last piece of the puzzle for the firing range renovation is the installation of a new air duct system in the range proper. We had an assessment done, and it's just not state-of-the-art. And we really need to make that, the air distribution system be state-of-the-art. So we've done all the design work, we bid it out accordingly. We looked at ranges in the area and what is state-of-the-art. We engaged the faculty and the folks that are involved in this to get their input into it. And we have brought forth before the board a contract for the installation of the new air duct, new air handling system within the range proper.
Any questions on tab Q for VP Johnson? Okay. Moving on to adjournment. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
Support. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Chair Fleming?
Yes.
Vice Chair Milliken?
Yes.
Treasurer Davis?
Yes.
Secretary DeVarty?
Yes.
Trustee Hatcher? Trustee Hatcher?
Ruth?
Trustee Landau?
Sorry. Trustee Hatcher, Ruth. Trustee Hatcher, whatever.
Trustee St. Orton?
Yes.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.